Now, live on KBTX, the Brazos Valley's news leader. This is News 3 at 6.
Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. The start of the Twin Peaks biker trials has been postponed. A separate federal case in San Antonio involving one of the gangs has put all the trials on hold. A San Antonio prosecutor says they have information related to the shootout but won't share it until their prosecution is over. The first trial was set for June 5th. Environmental supporters marked Earth Day with what they called the March for Science. Marches took place all over the world and closer to home in Austin and Houston. People expressed their views and concerns for the scientific community and where it's headed. Organizers say the march was nonpartisan and they wanted to defend science from various attacks, including proposed U.S. government budget cuts.
It's the method of inquiry which really allows us to learn. And anybody that denigrates science, right, is just trying to hold us backward. And to move forward, right, we just need to think.
President Trump made no mention of the Science March in his tweet about Earth Day. Firefighters from around Grimes County had some very special training today. First responders simulated a train derailment and overturned tanker car. I had a chance to see the training firsthand. On a gray Saturday morning, a derailed train tanker was the site for a training exercise. Nearly 30 firefighters from around Grimes County attended a disaster simulation on Highway 39 and at Iola High School.
We learned multiple things. We learned how to deal with a car derailment and what BNSF would want us to do, how they would want us to handle that.
Chief Morris Barney of the Iola Volunteer Fire Department says the hands-on work helped. Employees with Burlington Northern Santa Fe showed them how to handle valves on the tanker and also provided the train car for the drill.
As volunteers, we don't get to see them that often, and when we do see them, usually it's not a good situation. So being able to sit there and train them and go through with their emergency response people on that was very nice.
Carol Harrington with Grimes County Community Emergency Response Team says they tried to make the simulation as realistic as possible.
It's a single rail car that's on its side, no leaking, no fire, but we wanted to simulate potential issues and get everybody up to speed on training.
Command to EOC, command to EOC.
Another piece of the exercise puzzle is working with ham radio operators, a critical line of communication if phone and internet goes down.
Communications is something that's very important during disasters, but just walking in as a person who can communicate is not enough. You need training.
We are trying to train and take care of our communities better.
Grimes County emergency responders participate in simulations several times a year. Well, parents got some peace of mind at a free car seat check event in Bryan today. The College Station Kiwanis Club partnered with the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service and TxDOT for the free checks. Hundreds of cars came through at the Bryan Town Center. Seatbelt experts said that about 99% of the time something was incorrect, including having the wrong car seat for a child, the seat being installed incorrectly, or the child incorrectly being harnessed in the seat. It's also important to make sure children never sit in seats with airbags.
When that airbag comes out so much force that if you're under the age of 13, when that airbag hits you, your bones can literally shatter. Piece of fragment penetrating your heart, your lungs, and this can be fatal. That's why it's so important to be in that back seat until at least the age of 12, 13, when your bone actually develops into adulthood.
Another car seat safety check is being planned for September. Well, College Station students had their artwork on display for the community. It was the annual art show at College Station High School. Hundreds of pieces were on display by students from all 16 schools in the district. The show is a collaboration of their year-long work and showcases the importance of the arts in our schools.
Well, it's really exciting for everyone to see it, and there's so many amazing artworks in 12th grade and then down to like first grade, and it's really awesome.
We get incredible support from our community. So many people come out and just share how excited they are to have their kids in our programs and all the wonderful things that they do. It's just a great way to showcase what the kids do throughout the year.
And hundreds of people also put on their walking shoes in support of the March for Babies. The 2-mile walk started at Research Park, and KBTX had a participating team. The event raises money for babies in the NICU and goes towards critical treatments they may need. The proceeds from this walk will help raise money for babies right in our own community. Well, coming up, that cool breeze will stick around for the weekend. Meteorologist Matt Morris has your latest forecast. Plus, the Farm Bill has sparked some controversy. We'll tell you why supporters say it's a bill that doesn't just benefit farmers.
It's all about people, it's all about home. Working together, loving our own. From country roads to our city streets, it's the neighbors we love and the new ones we meet. KBTX, the very best we can give. We're here where you need us, here where you live, seeing life the way that you choose. Oh, yeah. News 3, this is your news. KBTX, it's the time that we share. It's for you, it's for me, people who care. Brazos Valley, this is for you. 60 years, this is your news.
Live High cameras on News 3 are powered by Norman G. Tractor. Nobody beats Norman G. Tractor. You're watching KBTX News 3. The people you know, the news you trust.
Opponents to any government support of agriculture are painting the Farm Bill as unnecessary and as an unnecessary handout to farmers. Supporters of the bill point out only 16% of the current Farm Bill was budgeted for agriculture support, and 79% of the funding was spent on food programs. They argue the bill not only keeps food available and affordable to consumers, but has a huge impact on the U.S. economy. Shel Winkley has more in this week's From the Ground Up.
That's one of the biggest misnomers that I deal with is someone says, you're an ag guy because you work on the Farm Bill. And the answer to that question is really, everybody should be worried. This isn't a Farm Bill. It's a consumer bill, or if you want to say it, it's just an everybody bill. The reason being is that, yes, the Farm Bill does a number of things to keep producers in business, to help them keep producing, keeps food on the shelves.
Joe Outlaw is co-director of the Agricultural and Food Policy Center at Texas A&M University and says the Farm Bill actually does much more than that.
Farm Bill helps keep these producers in business, which then go out and do business with everybody around the community, and that money turns over, as a fact, a few times, and lenders are staying in business, supply organizations stay in business, and that money gets brought into the tax base and helps fund education in local communities.
Outlaw maintains that agriculture has an expansive economic footprint.
It is one of the few segments of the economy that does a really beautiful picture of exploding out the impacts. We can talk food all you want to, but there's all these economic impacts that are also there that it's my job and others to make sure people understand what they're doing when they're talking about the Farm Bill. It's a food bill. It's a consumer bill. It's a business bill. It does it all.
I'm Shel Winkley, looking at Central Texas agriculture from the ground up.
From the Ground Up is brought to you by Producers Cooperative, proudly serving agriculture since 1943.
Well, after a much cooler Saturday, what are we expecting for the second half of your weekend? I'll have more on what's in store for us coming up here in just a little bit, but first, a live eye look out there from downtown Bryan.
News 3 weather from the Pinpoint Forecast team. Brought to you by the Bank and Trust, local bank, local bankers, and now local weather.
Well, current conditions right now, well, we've had these clouds most of the day, and we thought they would probably clear a little bit more through the afternoon. We haven't seen too much of that. We've seen some peaks of blue sky, a little bit of a tease from Mother Nature on this Earth Day, but really not much in the way of sunshine today. But it has been much cooler. I was out there earlier at the Wine and Roses Festival, just getting a little tour of the vineyard. I haven't had one yet with my wife. It was pretty cool. Lots of facts about wine you never quite knew, but it was chilly out there. Temperatures in the mid-60s right now. We were in the 50s this morning, so it was a cool start. In fact, our highs today were in the low to mid-70s and even low 80s in Belleville, and that was early this morning before the front came through, and it really dropped us off. Those winds have been kind of gusty today. That certainly added a bit of a chill factor to the air. Temperatures feeling like they're a little bit on the cooler side. Those gusts upwards about 25 to 30 miles per hour at times, but they should drop off a little bit more overnight tonight, but they're going to pick up again for tomorrow afternoon. What a difference and a contrast across the state today. Upper 80s, close to 90 in Brownsville, 60s here, low 60s in Dallas, 50s in the Panhandle, even a frost advisory for the Panhandle for tonight. So some cool air and some late season cool air for this time of the year across the state of Texas. But look at these 80s down near New Orleans and in 50s even in Memphis. So much cooler air filtering south into the southeastern United States behind this cold front that's making its push towards the Gulf Coast, and Galveston feeling that cooler air as well. But this front also packing a punch with some thunderstorms, some of them strong to severe across the southeastern United States. That northwesterly wind going to start to pick up again tomorrow. You notice those clouds kind of just a little bit tricky today. They didn't want to move on out of here, but they should clear out even before midnight tonight, and we should wake up to mainly clear skies in the morning, but maybe a couple clouds to start out your Sunday. But you notice pretty much all day. The timer goes through the entire day, and we don't see much in the way of cloud cover tomorrow. So more sunshine tomorrow. Despite the fact we'll be close in temperature, it actually might feel a little bit warmer tomorrow, mainly because we'll have more of that sun out. But look at this temperature change. In the last 24 hours, this time yesterday, we were in the low to mid 80s. Now we're in the low to mid 60s, so quite a contrast from 80s to 60s, and even from this morning from 70s to low 60s for most of the afternoon today. Normal high about 80. We're about 15 degrees below that right now. 61 in Madisonville. It's 59 though in Crockett already. 66 in Conroe. With that cooler air filtering in, some drier air as well. We should cool things off pretty quickly for tonight. This evening, sun sets at about 8 o'clock. We'll drop into the upper 50s before the sun even sets for tonight. Low 50s by about 11 o'clock. Those jackets, probably going to want them this evening if you're going to be out and about. Those winds a bit on the breezy side. We'll drop from the 60s down into the low 50s, perhaps some upper 40s by Sunday morning. As you wake up, grab the jacket, maybe even the hat. It's going to be a bit of a chilly start tomorrow. We'll get back up to the low 70s tomorrow afternoon. We'll cool off again into the upper 40s, mid to upper 40s. By the time we get into your Monday morning. Now, we're not concerned about any frost or freezes, but certainly a couple of chilly mornings across the Brazos Valley over the next couple of days, and back close to 80 by the time we get into your Monday. But for the Wine and Roses Festival, if you're headed out again tomorrow, a cool start again in the morning, but a cool afternoon, but more sunshine. Certainly going to want to put the sunscreen on despite the fact it will be cooler. That sun angle still just as high as it has been the last couple of days and for the last couple of weeks. As it continues to get higher and higher in the sky, we get more concerned about that burn factor, especially here closer to the Gulf of Mexico. But you know what? It's going to warm up in a hurry this week. I think we're going to see our first 90 of the season by the time we get into Wednesday, and a better chance for some thunderstorms perhaps Wednesday and by the end of next week. And that wind machine also gets cranking for most of this week. So Clay, a bit of a spring-like forecast here. We spring down into the 40s and we spring right back up into perhaps our first 90s of the season by Wednesday.
And a nice little break wearing jackets in April is not that normal
Not
for
very
here,
common
but
around here.
like you said, summer will be here before we know it, and we'll miss these cooler days in a couple months. Not
so enjoy them while they last,
Yes.
right? Yes.
Thanks very much, Mac. Well, we have plenty of baseball to talk about after the break as Sam Houston State plays 2 at Central Arkansas, and the Aggies go for a series win over Tennessee. Cody has your highlights next in sports.
Sports is presented by Allen Honda, corner of Southwest Parkway and Highway 6. Allen's got your Honda. From the KBTX Sports Center, News 3 Sports starts now.
It's a chance at a 4th straight SEC series win this afternoon for the Texas Aggie baseball team. A&M hosting Tennessee after beating the Volunteers 2-1 Friday in their first ever meeting in College Station. The Aggies wearing the throwback uniforms, complete with the white caps with the block tee on them. Joel Davis at the plate in the first with the bases loaded. He hits a ground out, but it's good enough to plate Nick Chorby. Texas A&M on top 1-0. The Volunteers answer in the second inning. Matt Waldron's base hit to left field rolls all the way to the wall. Andre Lipsius would score from second on the double, and that ties the game at 1. The Aggies take the lead back in the third. Braden Shue makes a ground out to first base, allows Chorby to score from third, and the home team goes up 2-1. It would stay that way until the 7th. That's when A&M adds an insurance run. Austin Homan's base hit to center field sends George Yansha home from second. It is 3-1 Aggies. Starting pitcher Corbin Martin threw 8 innings today. Mitchell Kilkenny pitched the 9th and closed out the game by striking out Jay Charleston. Texas A&M tops Tennessee 3-1. The Aggies have now won 7 straight SEC games and 4 straight conference series.
We're playing really well. You know, we're not always going to play as good as we want to, but just to be able to win close games like this, it means a lot for our pitching staff and our defense. And then just getting the timely hitting and putting the game away there with the third run in the 8th is really big.
The wins in SEC are not easy. I mean, you got to play a full 9 innings, and we're very fortunate to be where we are. But again, I've said it before, our players get all the credit. I mean, so determined. And Game 3 at Vanderbilt, I mean, they made a decision, and you can see it when we take the field each and every day.
The Aggies will go for the series sweep tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. After getting rained out on Friday, Sam Houston State plays 2 at Central Arkansas today. Cats trail 2-0 entering the 8th, but score on a bases-loaded walk, and then this RBI single by College Station Cougar Jackson Grisham. He drives in Blake Chisholm to tie things up at 2. They remain tied at 2 until the bottom of the 10th when the Bears' Jansen McCurdy delivers the game-winning RBI. Josh Sumdesurf scores, and Central Arkansas takes the first game of the day 3-2 in 10 innings. Game 2 is in the 7th inning. Cats ahead of the Bears 3-2. Houston Rockets suffered their first loss of the NBA playoffs last night in a 115-113 decision at Oklahoma City. James Harden scored 44 points while his counterpart Russell Westbrook went for 32 with 13 rebounds and 11 assists. Harden had a look at a game-winning 3 at the buzzer, but came up just short, just like the Rockets' attempt to come from 10 points down, headed into the 4th.
I think I missed the first one before that. Both a little short. Good shots, just a little short. You know, just got to get up a little bit on my jumper. But, you know, second half, once again, we played well. We just got to do better jobs and to start the game off. You know, we spot them, you know, I think 10 points in that first quarter. Can't allow that to happen, especially on the road.
Rockets and Thunder get back at it for Game 4 tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 on ABC. Tonight at 7, it's Game 4 in Memphis between the Spurs and Grizzlies. San Antonio leads the series 2-1, but the Grizz took Game 3 on Thursday 105-94. You can see it tonight on ESPN. Also, Aggie softball in action right now against Georgia. Ags out to a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning.
All right. Well, James Harden, amazing athlete. I'd love to have him for my pickup basketball team, but it's sad to see the Rockets lose.
Man, he never passes in the NBA. If he played pickup basketball with us, we might as well just play 1-on-9
yeah,
against
I'd probably
him.
be sitting on the bench the
Yes.
whole time. So, well, coming up in a few minutes, we'll show you what's coming up at 10 o'clock. Also, we'll have a lot of Coming up tonight at 10, we'll introduce you to a local high school honors student who speaks 6 languages, and we'll show you the festivities at this year's Wine and Roses Festival at the Messina Hoff Winery in Bryan.
That's 5 more languages than I can speak.
Same.
Fluently, at least.
Same, yeah.
Same for you as well.
It's impressive. He's almost a pope, you know.
All those languages, and I interviewed him, and he speaks Mandarin Chinese and Italian and Portuguese, and I struggled enough through trying to be fluent in French in high school and college, and can read it, but speaking it is not as good as reading it. So it's amazing the way people's minds work and can grasp that concept.
It's pretty cool. It's really cool. And in fact, it's also going to be cool tonight. Temperatures are going to drop into the 50s. Maybe even some upper 40s, but tomorrow another cool day, highs in the low 70s, about 10 degrees below average, but we've been so warm lately. This cooler air isn't too uncommon, but it is not something we typically see in mid to late April, but a nice, cool day.
We'll take it.
But
I love
we'll
it.
take it
Awesome.
because we could see our first 90 this season by next week.
Thanks, Matt. Yes. Well, that's our report for now. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to join us for News 3 at 10 or anytime on our web channel, KBTX.com.